Okay, so we're going to change gears, and our next session will be in English, and it'll be delivered by Adjunct Professor Dato Dr. Ghazali bin Dato Yusof. And the title of his talk is Kuala Lumpur, a confluence of entrepreneurial spirit, colonial legacy, and migrant organizational knowledge. So Dato Ghazali is an entrepreneur. He sits on several boards. I know him as a trustee of Malaysian Nature Society. Yeah, and the backstory of Taman Tugu is that some of you might be aware that Taman Tugu was supposed to be a theme park, and there was a bit of an outcry by the public. So Malaysian Nature Society, which Dato Ghazali is a trustee, was one of the prime movers in convincing the government to turn this place into a park. Yeah. So yeah. So Dato Ghazali is a person who enjoys history, and his love and appreciation of historical developments has inspired him to participate in research in human development. And as I mentioned, he's a member of the board member of several universities as well, and an adjunct professor in a few of them. So on that note, over to you, Dato. Yeah.
You don't mind, I'll sit down. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih pada pihak penganjur yang sudi menyebut saya untuk memberi pandangan saya dan juga apa-apa pengalaman saya yang saya telah lalukan selama 80 tahun. I just turned 80 years old only a week ago. I will never forget that day in 1956 when my late father, Dato Muhammad Yusof bin Haji Ahmad, brought us all to London. And we were staying at Queen's Gate Place in Kensington. And he brought us for a walk. I remember that day when we walked towards Trafalgar Square, all the museums. He asked me, Ghazali, what do you think of all these buildings around here? Oh, very impressive, Daddy. South Africa House, Nigeria House. What do you feel inside you? Well, I feel it's fantastic. Buildings, this architecture and all that. So there you are. You are a product of the new era. In my case, Ghazali, I'm very angry. Because all the money from the colonies that built these wonderful buildings and infrastructure, I'm going to give you a first-class education, Ghazali. And upon achievement of that education and your success, you try and bring back the glory of our ancestors. Because that is a way of saying thank you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And although I'm a businessman, I'm not an academic, nor am I a historian. I'm just a businessman who loves history. And from that day onwards, alhamdulillah, I've been in business. I was in Dunlop for 20 over years. The daughter of my big boss, Tugu Tansri Amayaya, is here, Sarah. My favorite boss. He came for my special convocation when I was awarded the honorary doctorate of law from University of Nottingham. And I was proud to see him there. He was the former chief executive of Dunlop, of Dunlop, then became Sam Darby. And I have a very healthy respect for Tugu Tansri Amayaya. So I just asked Sarah just now, is it possible for me to say hello to him and kiss his hand for what he has done for me? So anyway, coming back to my father. So after we went through London and all that, he brought me to the museums along Kensington. course, you know where Albert Hall is. You know where all the leading museums are. You know Imperial College. And then we went inside one of the museums. You know, Ghazali, all these things that you see here were stolen by the British. This does not belong to the British. It belongs to China, to Hong Kong, to India, and all that. Then my mother said, janganlah bising sangat. Marah orang putih tu. One of the guards overheard my father speaking and came up straight to me and to my father, "You are right, sir. You are absolutely right. You have a right to feel that way." That was in 1956. In 1959, he was posted again to London as Deputy High Commissioner for Malaya and in charge of all the Malayan and Singapore students in London. So I went to school in England for 4 years. I was an Englishman. I went to a boarding school. I went to a very good school in Hampstead. I still maintain my links with them. And I built up this appreciation and this bond that lies between the colonies of the British Empire, the current independent states of Southeast Asia, and most important of all, the links between universities. And that's why when I started my company, Nusantara Technologies, after leaving Dunlop, because I couldn't go higher anymore, it was a British company, the highest I can go to is general manager, and which I became at a fairly young age of 30. That's right. I believe I was the youngest general manager in the Dunlop Group internationally. So I started my own company. So what's this company called? Nusantara Technologies. Now, why do I name it Nusantara? Because I believe that we have a duty to our own civilization, our own people, and also all my business dealings within Nusantara, which has been going on, syukur alhamdulillah, for almost 38 years, 70% wakaf to professorial studies. This is my way of saying, syukur alhamdulillah Tuanku, terima kasih atas rezeki yang diberikan kepada saya. So this is the way. So now I'm very actively involved with universities as adjunct professor, and I've started a few professorial chairs looking at Malay civilization, the influence of Islam, and how we as a region can go on our own and become great again. And that's why I'm a very strong advocate of ASEAN. Now, coming back to Kuala Lumpur. Kuala Lumpur is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is a confluence of two rivers, the Klang and the Gombak and a few other small tributaries, but it's a confluence of opportunities. And we, with the Malays, I'm from Minangkabau, I'm from Sawalunto. I go there very often because I was posted to Indonesia, Dunlop Indonesia, as general manager. And I think I was the first local general manager of a British company, thanks to Tugu. So I went to all these places and I began to understand the Minangkabau philosophy and also all the various other ethnic groups of Indonesia. Therefore, what I'm doing now is a continuation of what my late father told me on that fateful day in 1956. A nation or an individual that neglects his history has no future. You must remember your evolution. And when Allah has given you that rizqi, for God's sake, give it back. Give it back as much as possible. And you'll be very surprised how much you can get back. And this is what I'm doing now. So mana-mana saya dapat peluang, UITM, University Tun Abdul Razak, Hajidah, my good friend, Dato Hajidah, by the way, and I were schoolmates. We were in VI together in the 50s and 60s. So I know him very well. Okay? And a few others. And then, of course, in ISIS, Arwah Tan Sri Nordin Sopi was my classmate. I was in VI. So all my books on the international relations I've donated to ISIS for memory of my friendship with Nordin. So now, coming back to Kuala Lumpur, it was a confluence of opportunities. There was an earlier civilization, British colonial policy, economic development. I know this very well because my father served as State Secretary Perak for many years. And I followed him in all his lectures and how he sort of motivated the Malay conscience to be entrepreneurs. So they came. And then the Chinese came with their organizational marketing and business skills. It's a combination. It was a synergy. Satu pemberian Allah that put it all together. And we have produced now a wonderful capital called Kuala Lumpur. And most importantly, a very great country called Malaysia, which is a combination of the synergies. But don't ever forget that the original settlers were the people here. They were here before. Somehow or other, in our quest, in our enthusiasm for development, we forget this. I think we're making a big mistake. So today I heard so many names that have been mentioned. I have books which I've read. By the way, I'm a very voracious reader. I have a personal library. I don't want to boast. 25,000 books. I read 3 books a week. All my books I donate to the universities because my father told me, Ghazali, knowledge is civilization and knowledge must be shared. If not shared, it is selfish consumption. But if you share it, you enhance civilization. My God. Yeah, he had a powerful impact on me. My father was a very brilliant man. He was the first batch to enter Raffles in 1929, went to Cambridge, got a first-class honors. Bukan senang tau nak masuk Cambridge those days. Dia anak polis saja. My grandfather was just a policeman. I was born in the police station in Alu Gajah. He's still there, the police station. You see? I come from Kampung Berisu, Alu Gajah, Melaka, which is near. Thank you. So there you are. So now, I want to suggest this. After hearing all these personalities just now as I was sitting down there, fuming with enthusiasm, let's do something about it. Come on. Let's do something about it. So my company is called Nusantara Technologies. Why can't we sit down together, Hajida? Work something out. All these personalities that were mentioned, some of their descendants are here. Do it! Hey, come on lah, janganlah cakap saja. Kita bikin. This is very important. We have all the universities. Let's get our act together. And that is what is keeping me going at the age of 80. You know, Alhamdulillah, Allah has given me good health. My wife sometimes gets a bit worried. She said, as you get older, you seem to get healthier. You know, and not only that, you're becoming more charming also. Alamak, itu dah lagi susah. Apa nak buat? By the way, Rega, I almost became a movie star, you know. Aladdin Hassan was trying to find another guy to work with him on the series. I asked my wife. My wife said, no way. Habislah. So anyway, I'll just stick to history. Okay? So anyway, this is my wish. So I'm going to suggest to all my good friends here, let us sit down together and work something out. I have a company called Nusantara Technologies. Alhamdulillah, it's doing pretty well. We have about 156 employees. Semuanya engineer. We do all the inspection of the oil rigs, the pipeline and all that. We have 7 branches all over Malaysia. 1 in Singapore coming up, 1 in the Philippines, and another one coming up. My company is called Nusantara for a reason. Because I believe in what I said earlier, in Nusantara, semangat Nusantara. So my father, my son, who is now running the company, told me, Papa, it was your dream. We must move to Nusantara, Kalimantan. I said, why not? Why not? So the regional headquarters for Nusantara Technologies will be in Nusantara, Kalimantan. But the world headquarters will be in Kota Kemuning, Shah Alam. In the building that's named after my mother, Wisma Mariam, because it was my mother's money. $70,000 she loaned me many, many years ago. Now, Alhamdulillah. So there you are. Therefore, I want to suggest, this meeting is fine. I think we need to have a serious place to do something. Yes. Please, you have my full support. My head office has got a very big conference room. I purposely did it simply because I have this sort of things in mind. And my chief engineer, wife dia caterer, senang aja. Kalau nak makan sabut aja, dah makan. So there you are. So I have nothing more to say. Thank you so much to the organizers for inviting me. You have ignited the spirit of Nusantara in me, which my father planted in me in 1956. By the way, just to let you know, since after the COVID is over, the Nottingham University has invited me to be a guest speaker in honor of my conferment as PhD in law. And the topic of my talk will be Spirit of Nusantara. This is a leading university. I was invited by the Vice Chancellor of the university. You come and give a talk, Ghazali. You're not an academic. You're not even a historian. But we want people like this because you have a different perspective of things. Of course, they said, your English is damn good. Well, because it can't be helped. Because, I come from the old era. We are, Haji dah, macam mana, kita Victorian institution semua cakap orang putih dulu. And then when I was at school in England, I was the top student in English and English literature. The orang putih tak percaya. Why the hell this fellow from the Colonial Malay can speak such good English? I said, simply because you send your teachers there. She was an English lady. And I think because we are more intelligent than you are. Bagi balik ke dia. And of course, so there you are. And of course now, Alhamdulillah, I've got good friends. Now I got many more new friends, new acquaintances. The university being heads here. Let's work together, sir. Let's work together. The private sector's role now is important, very important. Give part of it, and whatever it is you might call it, to education. Of course, I come from Melaka, Kampung Berisu, Al-Gajah, Melaka. My family home is next door to the school. I'm the penaung sekolah rendah kebangsaan Kampung Berisu, Al-Gajah, Melaka. The hall is very big, so when you want to have a seminar, you can use the hall. Next door to my house. Yeah, so there you are. So itulah dia serba sedikit ya. Saya tidak mau bercerita panjang sebab saya rasa saya ni tidak, orang kata, not qualified to talk about all these historical things because my interest is just as an enthusiast. But the semangat give me is 100% Melayu and Minangkabau. And I want to make sure that nobody pushes us aside. I'm not a politician. I'm a realist. But Allah has given me this rizki, and I'm going to push it like hell. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Dato Ghazali for that rousing talk just now. Thank you very much to inspire us. And it's true. Ada setengah orang mengatakan when it comes to soalan sama ada hang tuah tu benar atau dongeng. Benar atau dongeng? Ya? So ramai yang kata dongeng. Kenapa dongeng? Pasal there's no written record. That's why tanggungjawab kita, sebagaimana yang Datuk Ghazali kata, is to actually record this. Yeah? And my ambition has always been to bring Dr. Annabel Teh Gallup, and she would say, too often our history is sourced from the West. Why is that? Because we only have a tradition of oral history, and we don't write down what our forefathers tell us. So it's so important to record. Yeah.